Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Forgotten Favorites. We have arrived at Friday morning here, and we just have a few days left with Forgotten Favorites for the month of August, but don't fret, we're going to bring it back. You're going to get one episode each and every month of Forgotten Favorites where we'll do like maybe 30 minutes or 60 minutes talking about 5 or a few more different releases instead of doing this kind of daily thing. We're going to give you once a month for all you folks that love to hear about the obscure stuff. You're going to get one episode a month where I'll talk about a few of them, right? But today we're going to take a look at a band, a great one and done band, who I might have mentioned here on the channel before, but they're worth repeating again. They released this album, self-titled album in 1971, somewhat of a supergroup to an extent. Maybe, not this early in their career, but many of these folks who appear on this album certainly went on to bigger and better things. I'm talking about the self-titled release from Mogul Thrash. All right. So, who is in this band, you might be asking? All right. On guitars and vocals, James Litherland, ex of Colosseum. He was the first guitar player and singer in Colosseum. Right? We've got on bass guitar and vocals, mostly backing vocals, John Wetton. Perhaps you've heard of him. King Crimson, UK, Asia, Family, Roxy Music, Uriah Heep, so on and so forth, right? You've got Malcolm Duncan on tenor saxophone, Michael Rosen on trumpet, and Roger Ball on alto, baritone, and soprano saxes and arrangements. You might have heard a couple of those guys, too, from the Average White Band. And then on drums, Bill Harrison. Produced by none other than Brian Auger. Perhaps you've heard of him, right? Brian Auger's Oblivion Express, one of the great Hammond organ and keyboard players ever, right? So this album comes out shortly after Mr. Litherland leaves Colosseum. And obviously, he's still playing that sort of thing because this album is basically kind of like Colosseum on steroids. So Colosseum, a great jazz rock, some people call them prog band. Well, this takes jazz rock to a new level. Of course, you've got the brass, you've got plenty of guitar, you've got big beefy bass from Wetton. This is heavy hitting stuff. It's very jazzy, it's very rockin'. Some people call it prog because it's so complex, although, jazz rock is pretty complex as well. But really good album. It's a shame that this is all we got. So we've got, and if you get the reissue, there's all sorts of bonus tracks. The album itself, I think, originally 47 minutes or thereabouts. With the reissue, it's about 77 minutes long because you've got different versions of some of the alternate versions of some of the tracks that made the regular album. So starts off, it's got Something Sad. Like I said, great brass, great horns. Okay, Wetton's bass way up front in the mix. If you really love Wetton's bass playing and sometimes wish you heard more of it, think of the stuff he did with King Crimson. Man, you heard it all the time. He's here all over this album, and some absolutely stinging guitar leads from Mr. Litherland here. But I love the horns. I mean, just so good. You've got Elegy. It comes up next. Elegy, you will recall, was one of the great early Colosseum songs. So here they basically revisit that once again. Pretty cool. They do a great job. It's definitely more rockin'. I maybe would have liked to have heard another new original song because the original material is so good on this album. Then you got Dreams of Glass and Sand, another really, really good jazzy track. Again, there's a lot of rock muscle going on here. Then you got Going North, Going West, which is the big epic on the album, about 12 minutes long. Some absolutely face-melting guitar solos from James Litherland. I mean, he is a really, really good guitar player. And again, he's more of a kind of like a bluesy guy. Right, so but a lot of emotion, but yet he can do the complex stuff as well. You've got St. Peter, and What's This I Hear? What's This I Hear is another longer track. Lots of experimenting going on, a lot of kind of trading off the solos and things like that. Also, Sleeping in the Kitchen is another song, which is more of a standard kind of jazzy rock track, right? Good vocals, kind of catchy. So, yeah, this is really good stuff. I've had this CD for a long time. I don't know when exactly this was originally reissued. Probably, because originally this came out on the RCA Victor label in the UK in 1971 and released on Blueprint in 1999. So I guess that's, although this is the Disconforne CD issue. So this has been reissued a couple times. But yeah, really, really good. Interestingly enough, you compare this to, the Coliseum stuff. There's, other than Brian Auger playing a little piano on one track, there's no keyboards on this album. So, when you compare it to Coliseum, where Coliseum was a lot of keyboards and guitars, here it's like a lot of guitars and the brass section, right, instead. So the keyboards out, brass in. So if you like the more rocked up stuff from Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and certainly early Chicago, this will be mandatory listening for you. Yeah, if you like those first couple Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Chicago albums, you're going to love this. Probably even more rocking than those. All right, so just some scorching guitar work. And let's see if I can get you. Yeah, here we go. There's the guys in the band right there. All right. And yeah, not much else on the inside here. But pretty cool stuff. Great album cover. I always like the album cover of this. Kind of an interesting band name, Mogul Thrash. The fuck does that mean, right? Who knows? Who cares? Music is great, though. So there you have it. Mogul Thrash, self-titled from 1971. Check it out if you haven't already. If you are aware of this album, you do have this album, please report on what your feelings are. Maybe if you haven't listened to it in a while. I hadn't listened to this in years. I was totally getting into this, pulling it out once again and playing it for the first time in a couple of years. But if you've never heard them, please go listen to this album, report back, let us know what you think. I think you might find a new favorite here because this is a good one. I have been kind of harping on the greatness of this album for many, 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 many years, and it's good to kind of revisit it and talk to you guys about it. So there you have it, everybody. Another edition of Forgotten Favorites in the books. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We'll have another episode tomorrow and Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and then we move on to favorite live albums by year. We're going to do 30 years of live albums. I'm going to pick a favorite and a runner-up from each year, starting in the late 60s, and I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing each and every day. So that's coming up starting on the 1st. Meanwhile, stay tuned this weekend. We've got album homework assignment coming up on Sunday. We've got George LeMay facing off against Rand Kelly in our latest installment of the album homework assignments. They've had their assignments. They're getting ready to talk about them, so stay tuned for that. And a lot more here on the channel coming up this week. Hudson Valley Squares, In the Prague Seat, What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, The Monsters Den, and Friday at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff. So Monday through Friday, jam-packed with content, and we got some album ranking shows coming up too, as well as we move into September. So a lot of good stuff happening, guys. You do not want to miss any of it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell so you get alerted every time we post some content. If you want to make a channel donation, the link to our Ko-Fi page is below, as well as our merch page where we have all sorts of cool SOT-related stuff. And, of course, the link to Sea of Tranquility, the webzine, which has now been on the internet for 20 years this year. So thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, I'm Pete Pardo. See you real soon here on YouTube all the damn time.